Hey, Gerald.
What's up?
How's it going?
I don't know. Nothing much. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It's a little cold outside.
You got anything to do right now? Or?
Thought maybe we could talk about dotnet 10.
Huh? Sounds good.
Yeah.
My favorite topic.
Welcome, everybody. Hey, George. Whoop. Oh, my simulators are popping up. Let's see who else we got here. Rainer. All right. Julie. And I know that flag. South Africa, right? Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Come on. I think I had asked that question last time and I got educated.
I
hope I remembered correctly. Awesome. Well, welcome, everybody. We are actually awake and alive and energetic and excited.
Because you got a new coffee machine. That's probably why, right? You were just
not the machine yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. So I got a grinder.
Everything else.
So Gerald and I were just talking about what's new. And I was telling him how I'm working on building a coffee app. Because James Montemagno, where you been, man? Like you used to build coffee apps left and right. Where's there's no latest coffee app. I went and looked at your repos. Come on, man. We can do more. So anyway, I was like, I'm going to build one so that I can just track my espresso making, and for no other reason than I needed an idea to build an app. So, I haven't gotten the actual new machine yet. I've got a Breville Barista Express or something like this. Have had it for years, and it's fantastic. But it's getting a little old, and I'm like, I think we could do better. So the first thing to upgrade, of course, is to get a good grinder. So I got a good grinder. It's not too obnoxiously loud, but it adds. It's not as loud as the Breville grinder. But anyway, has made a huge difference. So now, I'm building an app. So I think I was just spinning up my simulators and I'll show you the app. It's not pretty yet because it's AI.
Some people just register a domain, kind of like when they start building. Yeah, but you just get like a whole setup just to build a coffee app.
Gotta have excuses to go buy things. And it's, the grinder was, $700, but the machine that I actually ordered is, and James actually recommended this company to me. He does mostly pour overs and he roasts his own beans, and he's beyond me.
I got some.
But Fellow is the name of the company, and so they have a new espresso maker, their first espresso maker that they've actually built, and they're going to be releasing. But it won't come until like March, maybe, assuming production is on schedule. So that'll be really cool. But for now, I got the grinder, I got the scale, I got the gear to do the tamping and the dosing and the things. All the things to frustrate all the other coffee makers in the house, because now they're like, I don't know how to use any of this stuff.
And they just make their... Is Senseo a thing over there? I guess not, right? It's like...
Say what?
Senseo? No, I guess not. Like, that's the big thing here. At some point, 100 years ago, Senseo was like, this was like the first kind of like instant coffee thing that was not... And you had little pads and you put them in there and everyone was, this is amazing. And at some point there was a turning point and everyone was, this is disgusting, right? We collectively agreed, this is now disgusting. But then we all got kind of like the semi-automatic grinders and whatever. But yeah, I guess it never made it over there. There are still people who kind of like love it, but
yeah, anyway. I mean, coffee culture, you kind of go
for sure.
Everything.
For sure.
Maddie, no, the grinder was not $700. It was like $450 or something.
Only $450.
Yeah, the what is it? The niche Zero, I think, is like $700. I went for a Turin DF64, which I think was like $400, $450, something like that. So
I thought about the Super Turbo Grinder 2000, but it was too expensive. I didn't get it.
Coffee beans aren't beans at all. Shh, they're fruit. Yeah, I've definitely gone deep into the YouTube hole of things. But anyway, we're not here to talk about beans. I could talk about beans. We're not talking about beans. What's new with you? You were telling me tomorrow is some special day in Holland?
Absolutely. Reinier is here, so he knows all about... I think his kids might be too old for this. For Sinterklaas, which is very similar to Santa Claus in the rest of the world, basically Christmas. But it's even the same kind of like concept. He comes over here. It's a whole thing. We have like daily news where every year they get into trouble, and it's like, oh no, this year it's not going to happen. But at the end, which was today, was the last show, and they saved the whole world again, and we're gonna have gifts tomorrow. And then depending on kind of like how you do it at home, because he's not real, right? So what will happen is it comes in kind of like a sack, usually filled with presents. And then what would happen when I was little? My dad would be like, "Oh, I need to go to the bathroom," and always at that point, that was on the window. They would like bang, and there were presents. Like, where are you? Always at the bathroom when that happens. It's so weird. Um, but it's a whole thing. It's a whole happening, and it's fun. It's fun. So I have 2 young kids. So Ryan years is 6 years old. So they're kind of like, that's kind of like the age. Well, 6 years you're still believing it, right? My kids 6 and 8, so they're kind of like the 8-year-old is in on the secret now. So he enjoys the secret for his brother and how it all comes down. But so it's a whole thing. Through the roof, yeah, they come through the chimney. It's very similar to Santa Claus, but that's
awesome.
tomorrow. Yeah.
But then you actually do you also do Santa Claus come Christmas time?
No, well, we do something, but we did tell them like that's a story. Don't believe that. But we do just do with.
Don't believe their lies. Believe our lies.
We just get together with family and we get some gifts for each other, put them under the tree, and then we kind of like exchange them. So still gifts, still too many gifts sometimes, if you ask me. But anyway. It's fun, and then we eat too much. Sorry, Maddie. Santa's very real, and it's only in the U.S. Santa comes to the U.S., Santa Claus comes to Europe. Okay, and they're both very real.
Well, they can't be all places all at the same time. My kids
Exactly.
were always wondering why Santa Claus used so much Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he's frugal that way.
Yeah.
We cooperate with him. We're in contact.
Exactly. But speaking of which, what did Santa bring us this year for .NET 10?
I know we've got some things. Got some good things.
So smooth.
I'll start at the top. .NET MAUI and .NET 10 is out. Great release. Thank you specifically, Gerald, for all of the help and leading most of the docs updates, because a release isn't a release without knowing how to use it.
If it's not in the docs, it's not true.
That's true. That's exactly right. Didn't ship if there's not a doc to go with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the Aspire integration, probably one of the bigger highlights of the entire deal.
It is for me. Yeah, this we made this happen, and it was kind of like it is definitely is part because this has a lot of moving parts. There is one part in the Aspire repository, right? We have the official Aspire integration. It was a whole journey. You've probably followed it if you've been watching us for a little bit longer. I've been talking about it a lot, and we had kind of like our first iteration, which worked, but it only worked for Visual Studio. So, that's good for the Visual Studio people, but there's also a good chunk of people who are not on Visual Studio. So we kind of like, threw that all overboard, and we were like, hey, we're going to do this the right way, Aspire native. And we build it in their repo, but there was also a part needed in .NET MAUI. So we obviously released that as part of .NET MAUI 10 because it had some API changes in there. So .NET MAUI is ready. The Aspire integration is ready. It's out now in preview as part of Aspire 13. So definitely go check that out. It's in the docs. It's on aspire.dev/docs. It's on the learn.microsoft docs. It's in all the docs. And you can get started today. So let us know what kind of like the rough edges are, because there are some. I already know about that. But we also definitely just want to see like, hey, are you going to use it? How are you going to use this? And kind of like see from there, because everything we do is based on your feedback.
Everything.
And
absolutely everything.
we're going to see like, hey, where are we going to take this? What is the next thing that we need to focus on? So if you don't know what this is, Aspire whole orchestrator for your whole application landscape. You can spin up your service, your AI models, your the proxies, everything. I think one of the things we haven't really talked about that actually, David, is you had an app, several apps, sample apps, not about coffee, about AI stuff where you needed the OpenAI key. And you were like, hey, I want to add Aspire to this because, just to test things out. And I was actually looking at it. And I was like, this is perfect. Typically what we think about whenever you use Aspire is like, hey, we have a backend or several backends. We have the MAUI app that you can hook up now. They spin up together and through the service discovery, and you can inspect all the things that are going around. But you had the thing where you were like, hey, I got a couple of secrets for my OpenAI keys, and I don't want to have them in code. I don't want to commit them to my Git repository. And that's perfect because you can say in Aspire, in your orchestration, you can say, hey, I want to have this parameter. Should it be secret, yes or no? And then before you even launch your app, the Aspire dashboard is going to say, I need values for these parameters. One could be your OpenAI key. One could be your API key for your backend, whatever. You can input those so you can get those from your key value store, whatever, input them there. Everything lights up. Your whole thing starts running without leaking secrets or having to commit those to your Git repository. So there's a whole bunch of scenarios that this kind of like makes possible.
Yeah. And I was super pleased when I saw that because I don't know that I anticipated that it was going to prompt me to say, hey, I need these keys. I need these what do they call resources, right?
Forgive me the exact terms. I'm still learning, but
thanks, Maddie.
Yeah, something there.
Maddie finally dropped that in there because I was trying to get it off my clipboard and it wasn't in the top 10. Yeah, no, I think the Aspire stuff is actually quite useful. And we were talking at .NET Conf in the studio. I was talking to Mr. Fowler, the other David. Or I guess for many people, he's the David, and then I'm the other David.
No.
But he was saying, when first it was proposed to do MAUI with Aspire, he was kind of like, why? It didn't really make sense. And I think there was plenty of that, even amongst ourselves when we were considering it initially. Was like, is there really value in this thing? And I come from a background of doing web long before mobile was a thing. And then of course, mobile, and then mobile with web and backends and the whole deal. And I was like, I really think there is quite a lot of value in this. And then his comment was, once he saw it all together, he was like, okay, now I get it. Yeah, there is something there. Now, the thing that I want to see next, and apparently this is something that could potentially happen, maybe Maddie's already working on it, is I want to see the end-to-end of all of my calls. And I want to see the payloads of those calls, right? And I think it's the payload is the big deal. Because when I make a call to Azure Foundry, for my AI calls, I want to know, okay, what did I actually send you? What did you actually respond to me? Without having to do all my console writes and my logging and all the
basically things. Just cut out your Postman or some
exactly. I used to use back in the day an app called Charles Proxy. Yes, Maddie, it is interesting. The other David knows all about it. So hopefully that's something that we can get in the near future, because that would save me a lot of time. And I do find that I don't always spin up the Aspire dashboard and then spin up my app. But when I am doing the end-to-end debugging, yeah, for sure, that makes sense. But otherwise, I'm usually just F5ing the application and iterating with. Lately, I've been using SpecKit. That's not part of today's discussion, but that's what I'm using currently on my coffee app.
Ooh, interesting.
A lot of things in here I think are, API changes. I saw that Pedro Jesus on LinkedIn was just mentioning something about the ListView deprecation, which if you have anything that depends upon ListView and Frame, this is your reminder. Here's your sign. Get rid of it.
Stop doing it.
Just stop it. Oh, that was weird. Okay. Sorry, I just saw the what do you call those closed captions jumping on YouTube, and it freaked me out.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, so those are gone. HybridWebView, the web views, both HybridWebView and Blazor WebView got updates. Mostly around lifecycle things, the WebView initializing, WebView initialized. The ability to intercept web requests was I think a big feedback item that Beth and Matthew and Alon from before heard, and we were able to do this in .NET 10 so that you can, handle those requests. Because maybe you are using a component that is also part of a web piece, but now it's in your app and it's not going to do all the web things, and so you need to. Aspire mentioned, Blazor mentioned. We're going to mention them all. They're all going to get mentioned.
Silverlight.
Oh well,
Yeah.
Usually somebody in the chat brings up Silverlight. There's also the L word, and it's love.
Yeah.
We will get to that. I have a tab for that. Yeah. So anyway, there are things you need to be able to do with intercepting the requests on mobile that you may not need to do otherwise. ListView, gone, out of here. Page is busy. You weren't using it. It's gone. Didn't do anything anyway, as we found out. But actually, if you remember what page is busy is for, that means you've been using Xamarin for a very long time.
You've been around, yeah.
That was a thing. Maybe you were an iOS user back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Picker. Oh, this Picker was. I think you did the nullable stuff, didn't you? This was you.
Yes. If memory serves correctly, I think there was. No. I know I did it, but I'm just thinking if there was a community PR or if we had this code lying around somewhere. But yeah, this was kind of like the time. Like we're still debating this internally from time to time, but technically we only have like once a year where we can make breaking changes, like for the good or the bad, right? Obsolete things or change things like making date picker and time picker nullable. And that's with like the major .NET releases, right? So we still sometimes have like, can't we really just do this thing kind of like in a service release? Still up for debate sometimes, but technically we only have the one chance with .NET 10 and .NET 11. For the picker, like it made total sense to have nullable date time values and also the minimum date and maximum date so that you could clear those, right? So that you have like an empty picker. I think what held us back until this moment, that happens a lot with these things too, is that the Windows date picker wouldn't allow us to have a empty date. So we were kind of like held back with, whatever the platform offers us. And I think they changed that. So now we were finally able to do it consistently for all the platforms. And then we were like, okay, then we should do this. So we have that now, nullable date pick. There was also at the same time some discussion on like, should we do date only and time only? Which we tried, but I think that's not supported in like net standard, which we still need to use for some of the XAML stuff. We still need to use it somewhere. We have to have support somewhere, and that made it super complicated to kind of like support that scenario. What we did add or are thinking to add is a converter so that you can plug in a date only or time only value. You won't even notice it. We'll transform it for you, and it will still kind of like work with that. But so that's another optimization that we kind of like are thinking about or want to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean the nullable date time picker stuff was a heavy request for a long time from customers. So I'm glad that we were able to get that in there. And yeah, the team can.
We got a bunch of these in there. Yeah, no, there's a bunch of them in there that were a long time requested, and they're like small improvements, but people are all like, "Yeah, finally!" Right?
Yeah,
that's great.
This is one that I didn't even register to me that this was a disconnect until I read the doc here that RefreshView, is refresh enabled versus is enabled, because is enabled is on mostly every control, right? Yep. But that doesn't mean the same as is refresh enabled. And so I was like, oh, that's a nice addition. Simple enough. It's a nice quality of life improvement. Search bar, hey, you get more colors. I think, some of these things are just, sometimes you don't implement something until it's actually needed. Yagni. I always liked that. Did you ever use Yagni?
I absolutely use Yagni.
Yeah. Let's see, what are the NIH? Not invented here. What are
Yep.
some of the other developer? I'm probably going to think of one that's highly inappropriate. IO error. Idiot operator.
Foobar.
Yeah, of course. Yes. But anyway, you got more color options on the search bar. The switch as well, more color options. Again, TableView gone. Stop it. Stop using it. That was a little bit of a sad one. A little bit of a sad one.
I always loved the layout of that thing.
Yeah, when it was right.
Yeah, when it was right. When it was right. Yeah, TableView is kind of like related to ListView, so we joke about it. TableView has been deprecated. Why, Alan? We don't need to explain Alan. He knows. But yeah, if you've been with us a little bit longer, then you know ListView, Collection View, they're interesting, challenging controls. And for us to be able to kind of like focus our efforts on one thing and make that the right experience, finally, we said like, hey, ListView, like we don't want to focus on that anymore. We're going to deprecate that. We're going to focus all on our efforts on Collection View. I think we did already a pretty good job there. There is work yet to be done, absolutely. But we already got to a much better place than it was before. And now at least we can kind of like say, you know, we don't really have to fix the ListView bugs anymore because it's obsoleted. So we're going to spend less time there. And now we can focus everything on Collection View and make that the best in class control for all your collections.
Which has been the focus for a long time. So like we're not just now trying to make Collection View great.
It's always hard to talk about this because someone's always going to find something to be mad at us. But yeah.
Well, I do remember when we were proposing Collection View initially many years ago, back in Xamarin Forums, right? And the whole pitch to me was, but look at all the ListView bugs we can get rid of. And I'm like, but what about the Collection View bugs that you're going to inherit?
Yep. Over the weekend, I was bored and I need to find better hobbies because I was going over the dotnet MAUI repository, and there were a good number of ListView bugs, and I was like, I'm gonna clean up our list a little bit. So I was like, this is probably not going to happen anymore. This is probably not going to happen anymore. So I went through them. There were a good number, but yeah, there's still also a good number of Collection View bugs. So good news is we can spend more time there, continue our focuses, our efforts there. Yeah, we're aware, we're working on it.
Yeah. Yep. So vibration haptic feedback gotten is supported. WebView on Android got the allow full screen for video playback. Search handler got some async love. Shell, not a whole lot in Shell in this release, but I think, you know, that's something that we're looking forward to in Net 11, is some additional modernizations in Shell. There's some, you know, foundational types that we can bring into alignment. So there's really no difference between navigation page and, you know, Shell and all the other, you know, types that are related. Maddie causing trouble. Don't tell everybody you were pretending. Now it's on the video. Now I've just said it out loud. Diagnostics. So this is kind of more foundational. I don't know if did you have anything to do with this?
No.
Okay, then I won't give you any credit for it. I think this is mostly Matthew.
Matthew and Javier, I think.
So this is kind of endemic. Is that the right word? Of kind of how we're thinking about things in .NET MAUI now. And I would encourage you to be thinking about this with your code as well. How does an AI agent know what's happening in your application? I think the initial thinking was, well, we got to take screenshots of everything and we got to give it vision, right? And certainly like vision in terms of, sorry, there's a no-see-em flying in front of me, is really powerful. Like when you're in VS Code or you're in Visual Studio and you take a screenshot and you paste that into your Copilot chat, which if you don't know, you should totally be doing that because it's super helpful to show Copilot what's going on and it works really fast. That's super, super useful. Now, the thing is, though, like if you want to set a copilot or an agent off to go solve a problem for you, and it's a hard problem. So somebody posed a collection view related problem to us recently, and I was like, I wonder if I can get Copilot to go at least create me a workaround for this, thinking in terms of like end user, like how can I just at least work around this problem? And the problem usually is, right, you tell Copilot to go do something and it stops in like, I don't know, a minute or two. And it's like, I did as much as I could. I don't know what's happening. You go test it. You human, you go test this thing.
I don't
And
know
you're
how to do
like, wait a second, I was making a coffee.
it. Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, I don't wanna. And and I was watching GitHub Universe, and I don't know, it was a CEO of one of the big AI companies was on stage giving their thing. And he was like, yeah, we've been solving really hard problems that, we got agents that run for days. And I'm like, days? Like my agent runs for
Not
like
mine.
a minute. It's like done. So I'm like, what do I need to do? And so diagnostics really speaks to this because what we're essentially doing is we're instrumenting our code so that you can now have it spitting out to the logs, to the console, all the things that are actually happening in the application. And this is primarily in terms of memory and performance and things like that. But think about this in your code as well. As long as you can tell the agent and you can connect it to where you're logging all that information out and you instruct it, hey, here's how you can observe what the app's doing without me.
Yep.
Log all these things. And like, hey, yeah, the thing you're doing is 3 pages deep in the application. Guess what? You can move it to the front.
Yep.
You can set up a sandbox and do it that way. Or yes, you can do testing. I know testing's a thing. Actually, in my projects, I now have testing. Why? Because I code with an AI agent and I don't have to write them anymore. So yeah, I'm all in on tests now for the purpose of AI. So like, what are the things that you can do to help the agents have the observability into what the code is doing to solve its own problem without you, so you can make more coffee? That is the goal. That's the goal.
Despite that you're not giving me any credit for this, that's fine. This does work. This can show up in the Aspire dashboard. So you can very easily, 2 lines of code, feed this into your Aspire dashboard. You will see all these diagnostics light up there. They have a fantastic MCP that your Copilot can talk to. So your Copilot can say, hey, what are the diagnostics for my app? It goes to the MCP. It figures it all out. You have an agent running for days. And David is high on coffee because that's all he can do now because his agent is busy. So this all kind of like comes together, and that's what I think is really cool about this .NET 10 release. We have a couple of things that really work well together with each other, and it's all kind of like coming together, bringing value to all of you.
Yes.
So, one thing that is not coming back that we also removed is MessagingCenter. I'm very happy about that.
How many releases did we try to remove this in?
I think it was obsoleted in kind of like the first release of .NET MAUI. I think by the time that .NET 8 came, I was like, I'm going to remove this thing. And then we had a lot of people in the preview saying, I was using that, please put it back. And so we did, because we listened to feedback. But it's not the most fun thing to do if you have decided to remove something and then have to put it back. But we did it, right? Because again, we're doing this for you, not for our own sake. So you were not ready back then. We put it back. It's still working. It's been made internal technically because we were still using it in some places in our own code base. If you ask
so we want customers to stop using it, but we're not going to stop using it.
Listen, this thing was invented before I was born, maybe? No, before I was working on Xamarin, but it should have always been internal. I don't know what the decision was to make it available for the whole world to see. This should have been a thing that was only used for us internally because the performance is horrible and memory leaks and all that kind of stuff. So we got rid of it. There is a drop-in compatible plugin that I created with Copilot that uses the exact same outside API service, but under the hood uses the thing that we are recommending here, which is the Community Toolkit MVVM, right? They have an amazing messenger, which is like super performant, and it uses that under the hood. So the same API calls, but suddenly you get a performance increase. So if you are still like, I'm not ready to go through my whole code base and remove all the MessagingCenter things in my app, drop in that library and it will still kind of like work, but then better, hopefully. It's gone. It's not coming back. Okay, there's
It's
that.
not coming back.
We didn't get a lot of pushback this time around, so I guess people did listen and start a migration.
Gave them enough warnings.
Yeah.
Enough lead time. Got some popover love. I'm going to kind of move a little faster through this stuff because I actually do have other things to talk about. Yep. Compatibility extensions. Oh yeah, by the way, the compatibility package. Stop using
Not compatible anymore.
It's gone. If you created a new project in .NET 10 and you're like, hey, why does the template now have MAUI controls and MAUI essentials? That was a little mistake. You don't need the MAUI essentials. It's there. You don't need to declare it. Did you notice that? Yeah,
I did.
yeah. It was just a little confusing. Let's see. Yep. Delegate overrides, MediaPicker. Ooh, I know you did the MediaPicker stuff.
Yes, I also saw there were some bugs coming from this, which is good. We love those. Yeah, MediaPicker was also one of those things that had some long-standing overdue work. There's a whole history there. We want to move ahead, so let's save that for another time. Join the MAUI Discord. I'll tell you there. But there was a couple of kind of like key features missing, which was like we would both strip the EXIF, so the metadata information from your image, and we would not rotate your image correctly. So you would now be stuck with an image that was not in the upright position and no information to know what the upright position was. So that was not great, right? So I added both. It auto rotates. Typically should do it, and the EXIF information will still be there. So even if we get it wrong, you can do it manually. You can influence the size, right? Because these devices these days will make very, very big images. So you can kind of like scale them down in the process. It will take a little bit of time, right? Depending on the device that you're running on, because we're doing heavy operations, but at least you can kind of like do it. And you can play with the compression and all that kind of stuff. So you have a little bit of more influence over what image you actually get back, and they are not huge and that kind of stuff. So lots of work into that. Again, let us know what you want to see more, and we'll do it. That's how we work.
Yes, and please use our previews. We're going to start something that to give y'all a heads up. Those of you who are here, how many people are here? I don't know.
.NET 11.
In .NET 11, we are shipping much earlier than you have seen. We've always been there in the preview ones, okay? But there's really not much for us to talk about in the preview ones. So you usually don't hear much about MAUI things until preview 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that has to do with Android schedules and iOS schedules and just historical reasons. This year we are pushing hard, and so the early releases, early previews are going to have more stuff. Please use them so that we don't have situations and put poor Gerald in a panic because GA releases and finally somebody used the MediaPicker.
That is very true, yeah. And then they'll be like, oh, this is the RC. I'm finally going to test this. Here's a bunch of bugs. Now we don't have any time to fix them anymore.
Yeah, there's no time left. There's no time. There's no time. My best Jack Bauer. All right, text-to-speech. We have a new rate property, which I have been using in my language learning application. So thank you very much.
I think this was a community contribution.
Whose? What?
I don't know whose, but I think this was a community contribution.
Community contribution. Love it. Yeah, actually, our community contributions are significantly up. So love that. That's why we have so many open PRs. Web Authenticator got the Authenticate Async, thankfully, finally. Pop-ups going async on all the things. A lot of these are API improvements. SafeArea Enhancements. This is actually a significant one. So if you remember, SafeArea was exclusively an iOS thing when they first introduced their notch. And Android didn't really have APIs for these things. But in the most recent major version, I think it was of Android 35, they introduced edge to edge. And so that they didn't just introduce it, they like went all in on it, right? And so what that did to everybody's applications is suddenly your Android app was flowing underneath it. And so we looked at it, we're like, can we patch this? Can we fix this in reaction to what Google had done? And the decision was made to no, we're just going to have MAUI opt out of it. And so we opted out. in Maui, and you could have opted back into it, I guess, but you didn't really want to because there were no APIs for you to really leverage that easily. What SafeArea Edges is now is a combined API that takes into account both Android and iOS needs for managing how your app responds to the constraints of safe areas, edge to edge, etc. And so it does some intelligent things for scrolling, does some intelligent things for keyboard, but tries to really give you the majority of the control, if not exclusively the control, over how your app is going to behave. These settings are to be applied to layouts. So if you are used to trying to push a button into a unsafe space, that is not going to work. You need to be dealing with your layouts, and that can drift things into those spaces. But by and large, you want your content to remain in the safe area. So the thing that I like to do is, get rid of my navigation bar, flow all of my content up underneath whatever the notch or the dynamic island or the hole is. And then for the bottom, now that we have liquid glass on iOS, you've got this floating tab at the bottom. You want your content to be able to flow underneath it and scroll behind it, as well as, you need to pad it appropriately so that once it does scroll all the way up, it's not just consistently obscured behind the tab. So now SafeArea Edges API, you can do all that. So pretty cool.
There is a question in the chat. When will Android Material 3 become?
So we are currently working on Android Material 3. I was just talking to Shane about that today. We have a full spec and plan for it, and we're pulling the trigger on doing it. My question to you is, with your existing applications, do you expect and do you want them to just suddenly use Material 3? Because it is significant change. And for some applications, that will be a breaking change. My proposal, now that I've asked you your opinion, but I'm not going to tell you my opinion, is that it should be, as soon as it's ready, it should be in the templates as the default, but existing applications will need to opt into it. And then it can become the full default in Net 11 is my current thinking. But need to know what you want, you dear developer customers. So yeah, it's coming. We're working on it. We know it's desired. However, you don't need to wait for us. I have seen articles out there of people that have enabled Material 3 themselves. So all or for in part. So you can find articles out there about it, which is, really one of the wonderful things, right, about .NET MAUI being native and giving you the leaky abstraction, which whenever I've heard leaky abstraction, that always sounded like a bad thing. But then once I understood it, I'm like, no, it's actually a benefit, right? That you can easily poke through to the native layers behind the scenes and do the native thing. So you're not prohibited from doing any of those things. All right. How much time do we have left? We got 20 minutes left. XAML sourcing. I'm skipping over secondary toolbar items, which thanks. Love it. Yeah. I'm using them already. XAML source gen. This is probably, I mentioned one of the, Aspire being a highlight. This is probably the crown jewel on the release. And from what I have seen from reactions and people that have used this, the performance improvements, the ability to debug the C#, all of the things are being very, very well received. So if you have not tried this yet, this is all you need to do. This right here, go into your CS proj, copy this puppy, drop it in there, and away you go. And you're going to get XAML source gen. That means no longer are you generating IL in the way that we were before. If you want to know more details about it, I did talk about it quite a bit, and I showed a bunch of performance numbers and everything in my presentation at .NET Conf. So you can go check that out. But it significantly improves the performance of your debug. Rainer can confirm. Thank you very much. We also did implicit and global namespaces. Enjoy that as you will. Kind of reduces how much XAML you're needing to maintain and type, which I appreciate. Got it. What, Maddie? Where you going? Gotta go. Nice seeing you all. Congrats.
Important Aspire stuff. Woo!
Yeah, I know. What could be more important than what we're doing right now, Maddie?
I know.
You got like 20 minutes before your next call. Let's see here. How to adopt. There's your global XMLNS. We've got some markup extension changes. The font image extension has been deprecated. You should be using font image source. Okay, no problem. Easy enough. Got some cool core CLR experimental stuff that you can try. Was also just having a conversation with Shimon about this today and our core CLR work. I think the big question for us when it comes to core CLR and native AOT, in terms of where to put additional effort, is what are your requirements in terms of performance? Like how fast is fast enough, right? And what is the balance between that and app size? Because unfortunately, the way that the physics of this whole thing work is that we can make your app faster, but every time we make it faster, it gets bigger. And that seems to be the case across the board. Now, native AOT is really the best of all worlds. You're going to get the smallest and the fastest value combination. But to get to native AOT requires quite a high bar. It's a lot of work, not only on your code, but on your dependencies. So, like, where is that line? If this is something you want to talk to us about and you have thoughts and opinions and you're like, hey, here's what we really need from a performance standpoint, from an app size standpoint, here are hard requirements. It must be no bigger than X megabytes. It must start in this number of milliseconds. It must be this responsive going from screen to screen. Let us know what those numbers are for you. They're not the same for everybody. I can guarantee that. Like, I have talked to hundreds, if not thousands of customers in my now almost 9 full years at Microsoft. And I can promise you, you think that everybody thinks the way you think. And I'm here to unfortunately burst your bubble. They don't. They don't all think that way for different reasons. We shipped Android Baklava 16 beta 3 bindings. Is this the one? No, I don't think beta 3 was. I think the GA, well, maybe it was. But wonderful Uno contribution to our Android bindings. Thank you, Uno, for the contribution and the ongoing collaborations. We have a recommended min support. .NET Run support. That's coming more and more and more. I saw some demos today from John Peppers on the .NET Run support with intelligent selection of devices in the command line. So you're going to see more and more command line stuff from us. And going back to my earlier comment about the diagnostics work and using the console to create observability, the more things that we can put into the command line, the more power we're giving to the AI agents. So you see us doing more things to benefit the agents, and that's going to benefit you in the long run. I promise you. Marshaled methods. We're kind of getting to the bottom of the barrel here. We got Xcode 26, 26.1, 26.2 is coming. We have the bindings for it, but Apple hasn't shipped the GA yet. They're still at RC as of like yesterday, I think I heard. All right. So I saw somebody in the chat say...
Yes, it finally happened. What about Linux?
Let's find the right tab. So Mike James put out this blog post. I think this was .NET Conf day 1. MAUI is coming to Linux and the browser. WASM. Woo! Wait, where's the media? Woo!
Oh, sorry. Do you need me to be the?
Woo! There we go.
Yeah,
Stars. Does it just keep going until I click off? Yeah.
Probably.
So some really cool stuff here out of Avalonia. Essentially, they're working on a backend of Avalonia for .NET MAUI. So that means that with little to no code changes, you can run your MAUI code on top of Avalonia platforms, Avalonia backends. So what Avalonia supports, which is Linux, Mac, Windows, Android, iOS, WASM, and whatever other platforms they add, your controls now will all have counterparts on the Avalonia side to do that. So I think that's huge. I think that's wonderful. That is, to me, everything I want from the .NET community. All things working together, sharing, benefiting from each other. And that's absolutely cool. So you want to see some demos? Yeah, of course. Of course, there's Miguel, our favorite Miguel in the whole world, and Nat, and Joseph, and go back, and Joanne Buckner. You never knew Joanne, did you, Gerald?
No.
Joanne was our head of marketing. I think that was her title or her role. I worked with Joanne when I was outside of the company, but she's awesome.
Cool.
So embedded Linux, WebAssembly support. I was talking so we are actually working on trying to get Tim Miller, who's been doing a lot of this work over at Avalonia, on for today, but the timing wasn't great, and I was trying to do it all last minute, and that never is a great idea to do things last minute. So we'll shoot for hopefully January. We'll see if that works out for everybody's schedules, but we'll have somebody from Avalonia on and talk about what they're doing here, show some demos, and it'll all be really cool. So hopefully that is quite...
Speaking of which, that
Oh, did you freeze?
Sorry. Was there a little bit of delay? No, you were talking over me. So I was just stop talking.
Keep going.
No, I think the first Thursday of January is January 1st. So we're probably not going to stream then, I assume. Anyway, we'll figure that out.
We will figure it out. Yeah. So I would think I was targeting the 8th, which does make sense that the first
that makes sense.
Thursday.
Yep.
I just I totally skipped over that in my calendar because I'm like, surely there's still 2025 dates in that week.
Yep.
Which means no more MAUI Blazor hybrids. Why would it mean that? I think that there's tons of value in being able to share your Blazor components and use that whole ecosystem of libraries and stuff. So no, I don't think that'll happen. What about support for Android TV? Aren't those just Android apps?
Yes, I already put in the chat, you can do that today. The only thing, because again, over the weekend I was going over all the MAUI issues. The only thing that needs a little bit of work that we don't provide out of the box is support for D-pad things. So for your remote, probably. So you can do it. I'm convinced. We just don't provide anything for that out of the box. But otherwise, it's just a MAUI app. So it's just an Android app, sorry. So you can do that with MAUI apps today. Years ago, when I was working at a different company just before joining Microsoft, there was one of those TVs at the office. It just showed up in my Visual Studio. I just sent my app over there. The app showed up like this. So we got pain in our neck. That's there. But, it worked.
Well, it couldn't have been perfect right out of the box. You got to give you something to work on.
Of course.
There might be some issues. Sure.
It's Android.
And I would say that Android TV at this point, we have to prioritize, right? All of our work. So where customers are, where the needs are, is where we're going to put the most effort. So anything that, if Android TV is super important to you, if Apple TV is super important to you, if CarPlay, those sorts of kind of lower on the list of usage, and if they're super important to you, we'll do what we can to support you in those things, and point you in the right direction and help yourself. But unlikely that you're going to see us doing that work. Kind of like why we had to redirect out of Apple Watch. It's like Apple Watch is super cool. I use an Apple Watch. I built apps for the Apple Watch, but there were 20 people using it. So it's not a huge thing for us. And unfortunately for Apple Watch, it actually was a ton of work for us to even support it. So Android TV sounds like it's not much work. So if there are things we can do to fix it, we should
Yeah,
do.
the depot thing. I can maybe see if we can make a library first, and if it's good enough, we can take it into the thing. What I will say quickly about you mentioning the Apple Watch, you can still do it. You have to build it natively, but you can package it with your MAUI app. And we in fact just shipped a. I'm trying to find it here real quick. Customer story, which we also do.
Are you talking about this one,
Um,
Demant?
yeah. Oh, you got it open. There we go.
Yeah, I
They
do.
have a Apple Watch app together with their mobile app built with MAUI. I'm trying to get their engineer who built that to do a guest blog post on how to connect that Apple Watch app. So is it going to be MAUI? Is it going to be C Sharp? Unfortunately, no. Can it work with your .NET MAUI app? Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can absolutely build this stuff and even share some services, with messaging back and forth. But yeah. And do we have, was that a blog post that got published or just one that I reviewed? It was about combining Swift widgets.
The widgets. It's you reviewed it.
I reviewed it.
Pending
Okay.
publishing.
So it's
Yep.
coming.
Yep.
It'll happen. Yeah. So this is a great story here. And we've talked to them several times. And it's a beautiful app. It's hearing healthcare, so hearing aids and the like, and supporting it. Beautiful app, good stuff. They're fans. Speaking of blogs, let's see, where is that? So this one, age verification. Thank you, Gerald, for your contribution to the blogs. So this is a time-sensitive compliance requirement, primarily targeting the US, although I did see somebody commenting that there's maybe an EU, UK requirement as well. But this is basically a blog saying, hey, leaky abstraction, here's how you do it. You can do all the things. Is this something that might become part of Essentials and an API that spans all the things? Sure, maybe. Sounds reasonable to me to consider that. But for the moment, here's how you do it. So if you are facing this requirement for your applications, this is all you need to know. This and nothing
Honestly,
more.
it's a little bit. This just was announced, I think, in like October. So I think even Google is kind of like scrambling, like, how do we implement this thing? The funny thing is, like, Google has an API to return results for this. It will only start serving live results if you are like in Texas. I think that's the first one on January 1st, when you are required to have this. So it's kind of like all super funny. I'm sure it will work out, but that's also for us like, hey, we put this out for you to be like, because people were reaching out like, how do I do this for my MAUI app? This is how you do it. And we're going to have to keep our eye on how this is going to evolve and if we need to make this even easier for you. But at least this is out there for you to use and you can see how to use it.
Yep. Thank you very much. Pop-ups. Okay. So this is super cool. This is something that was announced on the community stand-up last month. And then I guess, Gerald, you did the unveiling, apparently, on your YouTube.
Yeah. They contacted me if I wanted to launch it through a video. So I made a little video. I got early access to their repository and to their stuff. And I showed the little demo app that you can see here. I think it's amazing stuff. People have been asking like why another pop-ups thing. It's good to have options, right? Like you have opinions. You're all are like, no, it needs to be this way. Now we just have another option of doing things. What UX Divers is really good with is like design, right? So what this has is a little bit of opinionated design. They did provide a design out of the box that you can totally override and do all your things with. Personally, I'm very happy to get a design out of the box because I'm not a great designer. So if it looks half decent, then it's already better than what I could do. Steven, good friend of mine, who is a great designer, was like, I don't need all this junk. I want to style this myself. But it's there. It works amazing. Pop-ups is a little bit it doesn't cover all that's in there. It also has like a toast in there, right? So the little pop-up, if you will, two fully customizable, designable. You can just, if you inherit from their pop-up object that's in there, you can just create a fully customized page and use all of that stuff there. There's some wiring there for view models, a bunch of stuff. It's amazing. Just go play with it. It's good.
Yep, totally agree. As a matter of fact, here's my new not yet designed beautifully.
Oh, there we go.
This is AI design.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got this set up so that let's say, for example, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create a new user profile for Gerald.
Yay! I'm gonna take Tony off the screen.
See, there's the pop-up right there. So nice animations. You can have animate in from the top and from the bottom. I need to fix my font icons and things like that. But I'll talk more about this in the future because I'm doing some pretty interesting things as I'm building it that I have never done before. So let's see a couple more things here. New Pluralsight course from Hector Perez. So this is super cool. Love seeing new content, and I vouch for Hector. Hector has presented several times, I believe, at .NETConf, and I've seen his articles and some of the cool things that he has done with UI and with .NET MAUI. So I'm sure, without ever having even done his course, that it is going to be worth the while. MauiReactor, which, interestingly, the app that I just showed you that is using the pop-ups is a MauiReactor app. So if you're like, hey, that's cool, but UX drivers is all XAML. No, it's not all XAML. You can totally do it with MauiReactor. I didn't even have to do any extra work. It just works. It's great. But he's working on MauiReactor 4 to extend .NET 10, some wonderful performance improvements. And if you're like, what kind of performance improvements? He has a whole profiling repo where you can see just how much faster a MauiReactor Net 10 app is compared to the base Net 10 Maui app. Pretty good, right? And that's been my experience too. They just are. They're faster. I wish I could tell you exactly why, but I don't know. So
the real cool thing is going to be the comparison here between XAML source generation and this thing.
Yeah, that we should totally benchmark that. You should do that. You should.
that we turned very quickly into you, but okay. That's fine.
But anyway, if you were like, hey, I would use Reactor, but I need it to do X, Y, and Z. This is the thread for you to go make that demand and see if anybody would do it. And then, last but not least,
my goodness,
we'll end with a Gerald tweet. Thank you again for all of your docs and samples, because without a doc and without a sample, I am lost.
Well, be honest, your Copilot is lost without them.
That's true. Technically, we never actually set out to beat Flutter on anything. We set out to serve our customers. And the customers said,
exactly.
Well, we actually need website to be a website, and we actually need the app to be a native app. So that's what we built.
I can give you one last kind of like soft launch little teaser right here. Go to open a new tab, go to MauiDay.net.
MauiDay.net.
It's little asterisk there. We still need to get the final confirmation of the venue. The venue is already up here. It's WeWork in London, UK. Even if they're going to bail on us, we very much appreciate the effort, but we're 99% sure that we are going to end up here. So February 6th next year in London is going to be a new Maui Day. We are working actually on 2 other instances for 2026, so it's going to be an amazing year. Hopefully, this is all run by volunteers in the community. I backed them up a little bit. I started this way back when I was not at Microsoft and it was all still Xamarin. But that's why it's kind of like uncertain, and we are kind of like just going with the flow and whatever we can arrange, because we're very dependent on the amazing sponsors that we have and people opening their office to invite people. This is going to happen. At least David's going to be there. We're trying to convince Maddie to come. What? I'm going to be there, so it's going to be cool. Maui Day.
Yeah, and if you are in another part of the world and you're like, why don't we have Maui Days here? Let us know.
Yeah.
In particular,
Maui
Gerald,
Day in Canada. There we go.
But I'll include myself in the we. I actually am planning a trip.
Oh, you're in that we. No, then you also have to do the benchmarks. No.
I am planning a trip to maybe South Korea. So if you want to have a Maui Day in South Korea, I could organize it.
Ooh,
I could help.
there we go. I only
So
see Canada, South Africa, so we're making this a tour.
I would not mind at all. Make the trip worthwhile.
I need to see if I can expense those, but all right.
Well, thank you, Gerald, for another
Always.
wonderful community stand-up. And I think,
You too.
did you say the community toolkit is right after this?
The community toolkit, I
On
think
the-
they might have already started. So
They're started over on
pop over.
the foundation channel.
Yeah, let's see. I got the link still under my Control V. So there
Can
we
we
go.
raid them? We can't raid them. That's
You
like
can't rate
a
them. It's not a thing. It's
Twitch
Twitch.
thing.
That's yeah.
Dubai, I would totally come to Dubai. I could go visit my brother-in-law and his
We
family.
have giraffes. We have giraffes inside.
I
our-
had real Dubai chocolate because
I can eat
my
that.
family from Dubai is actually here.
You have family
for the
from
holiday.
Dubai. Awesome.
It was delicious. It was legit. So anyway,
Cool.
all right. Thanks everybody. Go back to work.
See you in the new year.
See ya. Bye. End stream.